God codes. In this very active, changing world we're in at the moment, it's very, very important to know thyself. And it's interesting, something so simple. I'm using black tourmaline at the moment. And I place it beside my bed when I'm sleeping. I have it close to me when I'm working. And I notice that I'm sleeping much, much better. I don't have the phone in the room. It's turned off at night. And I notice that my sleep is much more replenishing and deeper since I've been doing that. So I noticed that the EMF definitely was affecting the system and disturbing the system. So I can still get a sleep without it, but I did notice there was a difference. And to really not to bring fear into the system, but to really know the systems around us and know the technology is very advanced and maybe much more advanced than we know. But it's definitely, I observe that it's through the phones, through frequency, there's definitely an interference with thought patterns and almost like placing thoughts in the system of people's minds that they're finding it hard to decipher what is them, or making them a little bit more, the heart closed, or a little bit more aggressive than normal. And it's keeping them in the mind. So the world is changing, and I always know that we're supported, and the webinars I'm doing for me has always been a support system because I know it's on the pulse of the evolution and it's always ahead of time. Now, what was coming in first was, of course, I've been speaking about a lot recently is the reconnection with your spirit root through unity of consciousness. And that was the initiation of you to Mother Earth, and then registering you in your family genetic system, which was coming through that I got that information from Washington about the tree of life, the ancestral tree of life. And it was a huge shift in my system, my life system. Without even thinking about it, I could feel the difference in my system and my nervous system, and I can feel the connection with my ancestors in a very supportive way. So I want to say to all your ancestors, thank you. And thank you for the support you're giving us to move forward. Then it was working with releasing. I did a free webinar and it was about releasing the thoughts which your mother spoke out or thought about when you were in the womb and during the birth, about your dad or about yourself. And that made a big impression. There was a free webinar on that. It's on my YouTube. And it was a releasing the programs that mother may have spoke out during the birthing process, or dad too. So this helps to really strengthen the foundation. Then we were working with the divine feminine, divine masculine, balancing it in the system. So then we worked with the traits, the family traits and the collective traits. And these were having a huge impact with this trauma bond, the Stockholm syndrome, how it plays out in our lives and how it was running the show. And that was very, very huge field of information to work with. And it's understandable how we were in a trauma bond with the government and with ourselves and the relationship. So for me, with everything, it's always look in thyself, know thyself, and then know what's yours, know what's not yours, know what's belonged to the ancestors in the system. And it shows up. So what's coming in at the moment, and that's why it came in straight after working with releasing the trauma bond, the Stockholm syndrome, and all the traits of the family, was to work with the God codes. The God codes is about connecting, having the ability to discern what is you without knowing that that's not your mind, that's not your thoughts, because we need to get really, really professional at that. There's no excuses now. We need to get professional. We need to roll up our sleeves and get into the system. Now, the timeline at the moment is very fast and it's going to keep moving. So as the technology has been released publicly, that there's new advances in technology, which have been there for many years. It's just been brought to the surface. So you can see everyone's talking about cloud seeding. Everybody's talking about the an autonomous, AI technology entering into the human, subhuman. So all the corruption's coming up in the medical system, all the corruption's coming up in the governments at the moment. And for me, it's really completion of the Stockholm syndrome. I know the abuser, so now I know, so what am I doing about it? This is not a time to wait for others to stand up for you. For me, it's about being a leader at the moment and activating the leaders. If you imagine, I know in the Greek Easter here, they pass the candle on around from each other. Everyone brings a candle and we light each other's candle of the one that came from Istanbul and a church in Istanbul, and it's flown then to Greece, and then everybody lights the candle and they bring the candle home and ignite it in each home. Now, if you visualize that we are the candle, and then are you lighting your candle or are you not lighting the candle? Are you taking the knowledge from spirit and are you hiding your candle? Are you hiding it behind your back? Are you ashamed to be who you are? This is the question at the moment. So are you igniting your candle? Because for a collective shift, it takes one person to light their candle and then to start inspiring others to light that candle. And we need to not hide our candles. We need to activate the candles. Now, in the other webinar, I was working with the feminine brain, the feminine mind, and that's in the womb and igniting the womb. Now that your womb is ignited, are you supporting others to ignite theirs? Because spirit is giving us information. So, for example, I feel a huge responsibility when information drops into my system. I immediately want to start sharing it, to teach it, to share it, because spirit gave it to me, and I know it's not just for me, it's for everybody. So I will never block the flow of creation. I will never block the flow of creation. That is how the system evolves. That is how we all evolve. So I would ask, what part of you is blocking creation? So if you know a truth, if you know an abuser, are you going to sit on the fence and stay silent when you watch a child go into a laneway which you know is not good for them or may even harm them? And for me, it's not like pulling them out, it's simply sharing information. And then the spirit is in their free will to accept it or not. Now, we've been blessed to get the information coming through that we didn't know because we're sharing it. You're around people who are sharing the information. So what part of you is not sharing the information? Because it only takes, maybe you share it with 50 people and one person awakens and accepts that information and the rest turn their back on it. That's okay, but one person changed. And that's what keeps me going, is to know that by sharing information and leaving it in the responsibility of others, then I'm speaking my truth. I can sleep well at night then. And I know I've served spirit, because spirit, if you imagine you are the father, you are the mother, and you see a child about to drink from a well that has poison in it, are you going to stay quiet because you're ashamed or embarrassed that the people, everyone has drank from the same well? So are you not going to be the one who stands up and says, okay, be careful. Do you know what's in the well? Are you going to allow them to drink from that well because you're too embarrassed or ashamed or afraid that you'll be called crazy or stupid for saying, actually, are you aware that the water in that well is infected? So this is where we're at. For me, it's about activating that you are the leader. You are the leader. And it's about all of us standing up together to break the system. It's the collective. So as individuals, we have the information, we know it. So it's about us all standing up together and really deciding to stand up together and come together as a community. We are united with our ancestors and they've come together for us. So now it's about us coming together ourselves in this life. The God codes is about strengthening your core so you can do that. It's about discernment. The spirit of creation is really allowing you and giving you the tools to discern what is you, to go into your purest state. Then the spirit of wisdom is allowing you to discern what is really your destiny, what is really your purpose. The spirit of understanding of the systems is teaching you how systems work and how to move with those systems. The spirit of counsel is the ability to sit and discern with yourself, to make sure it's your information and to make sure it is your destiny, and then how to create a new system. So the spirit of counsel is very important to activate within your system so you can discern. If I get something, I sit with it for a while and I work it in my system and I work it all through the levels. So I'm going to teach you how to work in discernment, in counsel with yourself to see, to work a system and then how to evolve a system. The spirit of might is about your power and your potential. So I'm going to go very deeply into that. Then knowledge, the spirit of knowledge, creation, and to know the differences. Then the spirit of awareness, allowance, free will is really going to teach you something really profound in the system. So these 7 webinars were brought in from Spirit, and I was told to do them like this because the field is getting faster and knocking us out of our systems and distracting us. There's a lot of distractions in the field at the moment, and there's a lot of laws being changed, and there's a lot of technology moving forward. And it's for you to understand, not to be afraid, but understand what are the advances of the technology, how is the technology used, and then to know who are the wolves. And the ones who are screaming, held, 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 have you been protected by them? Have they blackmailed you in the past? Have they blackmailed you and made you feel guilty to take something that's untested? So if you've taken it, then are you learning from it? Would you give that to your child again? All these questions need to be asked because I understand when we make a decision, which is for our children, it's very difficult to go back or even to look at. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to know the information. I want to space out. I just want to do it again because I believe in it. I hope the science was right. So I understand how that feels. And it's really heavy, but at the same time, we need to grow from it and we need to take responsibility and discern from what you've been told, what I'm telling you, what everybody's telling you, and go back and counsel with yourself and have that connection and see what's right for you. So I'm not telling you what to do. In this webinar series of 7 webinars, it's going to strengthen your core, it's going to strengthen your backbone, it's going to strengthen you as a leader to give you the tools to discern from what is distractions, what has been thoughts are yours and not yours, and how to step into this world and how to create a new world. So this is going to be a very, very strong webinar series that's going to keep activating you and keep strengthening your core because we need that level of support and backbone in our systems to move forward. So we do not fold to the masses, that we do not fold to the threats, that we do not go down the same road we did a few years ago with the pandemic, that we can stand up together, unite together. This is the time to unite. The leaders are active. You are a leader, and it's time to get off the fence and it's time to ignite that candle in you. And that candle, you need to work in your system that you don't care what people think about you because you know it's God's truth. You don't care that you're being made appear stupid because that's God's truth. You don't care about losing people, friends, because that's God's truth. Because If they can't handle it, is that really your problem? We're all at different levels of consciousness, and it's okay, but you're simply sharing truth. And if enough of us work through our fears of, I personally don't care what you think of me. I personally don't care that who I lose, who comes. I do, of course, want the best for everybody and the higher purpose. But if I'm being told to deliver a message, I'm not getting in the way of that message. If I'm told to speak truth, I'm not going to worry about losing people. I will do what my soul sends me to do. This is my job. And I may not be giving you milk. I may be giving you something that is very tough to face, to digest. You may turn your back. You may hate me. But that is not what I'm here to do to make you feel good about it. I'm here to deliver the meat. I'm here to deliver the truth. And the truth is something that stretches you, that makes you feel uncomfortable, that may scare you, that may embarrass you. But the job is to deliver truth at the moment. And you can handle it. That's why it's awakened at the moment. Maybe before you cannot. So that's why there's so much truth coming up in the world at the moment, because we can handle the truth. And that's incredible. That's incredible that we can handle the truth. And it's uncomfortable. It's embarrassing. I want to think positive, 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 but really to know myself as being positive, to know that there's a wolf in the system has been positive, to know that there may be a murderer in the system, it's positive, to know that there's mass murder happening in the world at the moment is positive. You can see it with Kellogg's at the moment, which is only the tip of the iceberg, where there was poisoning put into the cereals, the children's food. If a government allows that, do you trust that government? If I put poison in your food, would you come back to me? And then if I said to take these health injections, would you trust me? If I told you to do anything, would you trust me? I personally, if someone did that to me, if someone deliberately poisoned the food, I would never go back to them. Never. I would never go back to them. I would never bring my children to that table again. So that was put through a company, but it's put through the allowance of an authority who let that in the system. So this is much deeper, much darker than one company. Who allowed it into the kitchen? Who allowed it into the house? That's the question you need to ask. And then who's responsible and who's doing it? So if something causes cancer and they're deliberately putting it into the thing, it's not for sales. There's something else going on here, much more sinister, much more dark. And then where is that stopping? And then why is, we all know frequency affects the immune system, frequency affects the cells. We all know that aluminium and heavy metals affect us. So why is that being sprayed? Why is the transmission of EMF being increased? These are the questions that you need to ask. And then why are we trusting those people? It's time to stand up. It's time to take responsibility. It's time to look at your fears. Look at your fears of posting. What is that about? What is that about? If that's a platform which you can connect to a community and awaken a community, what is stopping you from speaking your truth? That's what you should look at. What part of you is not doing it? Is it because of fear? Is it because of money? Is it because of embarrassment? Is it because you may lose your people? Why are you here as a spirit on this planet at the moment? Because if we're all afraid of speaking truth and we watch our friends, family, brothers, sisters go to a poisonous well, when you're making transition, how are you going to feel about that? When you go back to your council level, what did you do? So your ancestors are supporting you here to do things which they probably did back way generations ago, and also to break through things they couldn't do. You are supported by your ancestors because the ancestors care about you and they care about your children and their future children because you are their child. And it's to quit, to get out of the way of the small-mindedness, to get out of the way of the being embarrassed, to get out of the way of worrying about your image. This is serious. This is serious, what's happening. This is affecting fertility. This is affecting your children. Are you going to allow the technology now can even through the algorithm tell your child to be gay or straight? That's how they're moving forward. So are you going to allow your child to be groomed by technology? I would never allow a child. I will protect that child. So are you, if you cannot stand up for yourself, if you cannot speak out for yourself, can you speak out for a child who's defenseless, who has a phone in their hand, who's being told what to think, being told what sex they are? This is what I'm talking about. I will speak up for any child I see in danger, any child I see being groomed, any child I see being poisoned. I don't care about people's feelings. I will stand up and I will speak out for those children because I believe every child should be protected by their mother, by their father. And that's where we're at on this planet. So we are here to make changes as a spirit. We chose to be here at this moment in time. We signed up for it. So now get over yourself. Get over your fears. Get off the fence. Stop playing small. Stop putting excuses in the way. Do something. Do something. It's time to do something. It's time to take action. It's time to speak out. It's time to say, no, it's enough, and it stops now. It stops now. It's time to stop and break these trauma bonds because it's up to you to break the trauma bonds. So this webinar is giving you the power to move forward. This webinar is giving you the power to stop the system and to break those trauma bonds and to discern what is right, what is your core truth. So I invite you to be part of this webinar. I invite you to stop the trauma bonds today, not tomorrow, now. To do something that you never did before. I invite you to do something that you never did before. To go through your fear, break the trauma bond, speak out, speak up, light that candle of truth inside you and burn up the impurities that are in the system. Light your candle and show up the shadow, and then you'll support someone else who couldn't light the candle to have the power to light that candle. Because we need to do this as a collective. We need to get off our asses and move and speak up. There's so much power in your system, and you can change the whole world by changing you and by being you and speaking through you from your being. You will ignite many candles, and then they will ignite other candles. And that's how it will change. You're a leader. You're a leader. It's time to stand. You can do it. I believe in you.